welcome back to Kari's Confessions, a nonprofit exec tells all. I'm Kari Anderson, your host and principal with Incite Consulting. My podcast explores the tools and strategies that help nonprofit leaders grow their impact and build resilient organizations. As always, I'm here to share some hard earned lessons and honest truths from life inside the nonprofit world. I spent 25 plus years in the nonprofit sector in leadership roles with 7 organizations. Now, I provide coaching and consulting services to ensure that nonprofits, like yours, have the structure, systems, and practices to do your best work. Wherever I go, I continue to hear that nonprofit execs need a space to gather, to receive tools, feedback, and advice that encourages them to stay the course. It doesn't matter if you're in a village of 182 or a metropolis of millions, nonprofit work is both gratifying and lonely. I'm here to make sure that you have a chance to breathe, laugh, smirk, and get excited again about the important work that you do. Today's podcast is all about getting your board on the same page. If you've ever worked out of a board meeting feeling more tired than inspired, if you've ever thought, we have smart people in the room, so why does this feel so hard? Or if you've ever caught yourself quietly bracing before a board meeting instead of looking forward to one, you are not alone. So here's something that I can say with confidence. Your board should be your organization's secret weapon, not its biggest headache. And yet here we are in 2026, and I'm still watching incredibly capable leaders struggle with the same fundamental challenge, getting everyone on the same page. Board engagement isn't just about getting people to show up anymore. The landscape has changed dramatically. We're navigating political crosswinds that threaten organizational cultures, economic pressures that demand smarter and more creative funding strategies, and stakeholder expectations that seem to be multiplying overnight. In this environment, a disengaged board isn't just frustrating, it's risky. The good news, there is a clear path forward, and no, it doesn't involve herding cats harder. It's more like herding cats with intention, structure, and the right tools. So today, I want to walk you through 5 key strategies for board engagement in 2026. Strategies I've watched transform boards from rubber stampers into thoughtful, aligned leadership teams that actually move the needle. These aren't theoretical, they're practical, field tested, and absolutely doable. So let's untangle some knots together. My first strategy for you is let's just define clear board purpose and roles. Clarity is kind, right? So let me start with a familiar scene to most of you. I'm sitting in the back of a boardroom, sometimes in person, sometimes on Zoom, and I can feel the energy shift. A discussion that started with strategy has quietly slid into operational weeds. Someone says, "Isn't that your committee's job?" Another board member jumps in with, "I thought we decided that last quarter." And the executive director, they're trying to look calm while mentally calculating how much staff time this confusion is about to cost. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. Board engagement starts with purpose, and I don't mean the generic answer to govern, though that's a thing. The real question is, why does this person sit at this table at this moment in your organization's life? I worked with a mid-sized nonprofit a few years ago that was frustrated with what they called a checked out board. When we dug in, the issue, turns out, wasn't apathy, it was ambiguity. Their finance expert thought their job was to approve budgets. Full stop. Their community advocate thought they were there to speak only when equity issues came up. And several board members honestly couldn't articulate what unique value they brought at all. Once we clarified roles, everything changed. That finance expert stopped nodding along in strategic planning meetings and started translating financial implications into real choices. That community advocate became a critical voice in shaping service delivery, not as a token, but as a strategist. Clarity created confidence, and confidence drives engagement. Here's what that clarity requires. First, defining governance versus management. Board sets direction, staff executes. Yes, the line blurs when resources are tight or passion runs high, or if you're a 100% volunteer led organization. But without clarity, you end up with the dreaded board as super staff syndrome. Second, I want you to make sure that you have clear community boundaries. Finance doesn't dabble in program design. Development doesn't override governance decisions. Clear lanes keep people moving forward instead of sideways. And third, individual contribution. What unique lens does each board member bring? Document it, reference it, use it. Pro tip, actually ask at your next board meeting what each skill set each board director brings and actually document it in your board matrix. So, intentional board culture doesn't happen by accident. It's built through explicit conversations about how you'll work together, make decisions, and hold each other accountable. When roles are crystal clear, engagement follows naturally because people know exactly where they fit and why they matter. So, a second strategy I'd like you to consider is this: fostering leadership alignment through communication and strategic planning. One of my favorite things about boards is also one of boards' biggest challenges. They bring together people with wildly different experiences, perspectives, and priorities, never mind board service. That diversity is powerful until it turns into friction instead of moving forward with momentum. Leadership alignment isn't about getting everyone to think the same way. It's about creating a shared understanding of where you're headed and how you'll get there together. Here's something I often say to boards. If your board meetings feel like a series of reports that could have been read in an email, you're missing the point. I worked with a board not long ago that was technically engaged. Attendance was high. Committees met regularly, but alignment, not so much. So we shifted how they used their time. Instead of stacking their board agendas with updates, we built meetings around strategic questions. Instead of long PowerPoint decks, we used visual strategy roadmaps that showed how initiatives connected to mission outcomes. And instead of annual planning marathons, we created quarterly deep dives on specific priorities. The result? Better conversations, better decisions, and far less frustration. So in 2026, alignment also means staying grounded in reality. Political shifts, economic uncertainty, and evolving community needs mean last year's playbook won't cut it. I encourage boards to conduct quarterly environmental scans. Ask together what's changing around us, what risks are emerging, what opportunities are we not talking about yet. When leadership shares a common understanding of both destination and context, you spend less time debating and more time leading. So, an additional strategy for you to consider: implementing a comprehensive talent management framework. Just sounds scary. It's actually pretty simple. So, your board is not static, at least it better not be static. It's a living, breathing leadership team. And yet, I still see boards approach board recruitment like emergency staffing. Oh no, someone's term is ending. Who do we know? That's not talent management, that's scrambling. High performing boards take a strategic approach to building and sustaining leadership. So, it first starts with an honest skills audit. I once facilitated a retreat where we put the strategic plan on one wall and the board's collective skills on the other. The gaps were obvious and eye opening. They needed financial sophistication to navigate a shifting funding landscape. They needed technology expertise they simply didn't have. And most importantly, they needed voices that actually reflected the communities they served, which leads me to diversity. Diversity is not a checkbox, it's a competitive advantage. Boards with varied perspectives make better decisions, period. But that requires recruiting beyond familiar networks and being intentional about who sits at your board table. Once new board members arrive, onboarding matters a lot. Please don't hand someone a binder and wish them good luck. Many of you are thinking, oh my heavens, we don't even have a binder. Well, let's fix that yesterday. Effective onboarding. for boards includes one-on-one conversations with key staff and board members, clear expectations about time and responsibility, and real immersion in your organization's history, culture, and challenges. Learning doesn't stop there. Ongoing development keeps boards sharp and engaged, and succession planning ensures continuity when transitions happen. People, we are all going to leave. We all need to step into leadership roles on boards. So, a final strategy for you to consider in terms of getting your board all on the same page: strengthen governance fundamentals for accountability and collaboration. Strong governance is the backbone of good board engagement. Without it, you're asking people to navigate in the dark and then wondering why they keep bumping into each other already. Start with committee clarity. Every committee should have a charter or job description that defines scope, authority, and deliverables. This prevents territorial disputes and wasted energy. Next, foster a trustee mindset. What does that mean? Trustees ask, what does the organization need before what do I think? That shift from a personal agenda to collective stewardship changes everything. Board assessments help too. I'm a huge fan. When used well, they're a diagnostic tool, not a box checking exercise. Anonymous feedback paired with honest conversation surfaces issues long before they become crises. And finally, never, ever underestimate the importance of the board chair executive director relationship. When these two operate as true partners, respecting boundaries while communicating openly, the entire organization benefits. So, a couple other things to consider. Use technology to improve board operations and engagement. Your board members are busy people. Tech isn't about adding complexity, it's about respecting their time. There are more sophisticated board portals like Board Effect or Diligent. Frankly, folks, you can use Dropbox or Google Drive. The idea is we want to create a single source of truth. These collaborative tools allow materials to be reviewed in advance, so your board meetings become conversations, not information dumps. I've seen hybrid boards thrive using Zoom breakout rooms, sharing documents, and simple project management tools to track action items. Now, tech does not replace human connection, it enhances it. So we've got some external challenges in 2026 to be aware of, right? We know that boards today face real external pressures: political scrutiny, economic uncertainty, rising stakeholder expectations. Strong boards, regardless of your size, your budget, or your mission, don't avoid these realities. They face them together. They ask hard questions about sustainability. They engage transparently with your stakeholders. They stay educated without micromanaging. And most importantly, they stay grounded in your organization's mission. So, some final thoughts for you. Board engagement doesn't start with tools or policies. It starts with one honest conversation about where your leadership is today. So here's my invitation to you. Take out your board roster and ask yourself 3 questions. Are we clear on why each board member sits at this table? Can we articulate our shared vision without hesitation? Do we have systems strong enough for what 2026 will throw at us? Leadership unity isn't a buzzword. It's the difference between reacting and leading, between surviving and thriving. Pick one strategy I shared today and implement it this month. Then pick another next month. Small, deliberate steps create unstoppable momentum. Your board and your mission are worth it. So thanks for joining me today for Kari's Confessions, a nonprofit exec tells all. If you found this episode helpful, share it with a colleague or board member. Make sure to follow me on your favorite streaming platforms. And for additional resources and tools, follow me on LinkedIn. You can also check out my website at inciteconsultinggroup.com. Until next time, have a great week.